Hi, family, and welcome to another Tuesday, Thinking Thanks Tuesdays. And so, for today, as you all know, what we do on Thinking Thanks, we look at our SA headline or news which made headlines according to me in SA or around the world. So, like any other Tuesday, we are not going to do anything different. Before we start, I would just like to say thank you very much, family, for the support and for coming, for people to coming into the channel and viewing the channel. And please don't forget to subscribe if you come and view, and hopefully, eventually, you'll find what you like. So for today, it's Thinking Thanks Tuesdays, where we go on the net and look at our current affairs and what's making news. So in front of me, like any other Tuesdays, we've got our research, our search engine. Sorry, I had a long day and I'm losing my trail of thoughts. It's going all over the place. This is just an energy drink because I'm losing it. Okay, let's start all over again. I think now I'm fine. So welcome, families. All know tomorrow it's Youth Day in South Africa, June 16, and June 16 started on the uprising of the youth in 1976. So tomorrow it's all of those celebration and what June 16 or Youth Day means after all these years into democracy and so on. So tomorrow we're celebrating that, if you might call it a celebration. But for me, at the same breath as we'll be celebrating Youth Day tomorrow, I would like to emphasize on the fact that the government need to look into the education of the youth, because we can't keep on celebrating Youth Day every year. And every year, students go out into the streets fighting for free education, fighting for fees must fall, fighting for historical debts to be cancelled. So those are all the problems of which for me, I think the South African youth is facing. And it's not a new phenomenon. It started from your 1976 already, where the youth was saying, but then we don't want this, we want that, and nobody was listening to them. So this is the same thing which is happening now in the new South Africa, where the youth is telling the government, hey, we can't afford not to go to school because our parents are poor, or we can't afford education. Education was one of the promises which the ANC made in 1994 already, that there was going to be free education. As much as they are pussyfooting around with the education problem now, but then the ANC knew for a fact that education and black children is one of the important aspects in life, as you may call it, because they made it to be education is the key. So if you can't even get the flippant key, where are you supposed to get the future which you're supposed to have? So the ANC needs to sort out what it promised, because at the same time, if I have to tell you, the whole student loans and so on, they also don't make sense, because at the end of the day, the NEFSAs give the children the money to study, and then after a few years they must pay back the money. When they study there, it's not guaranteed that those children they're gonna find better jobs, and then they're gonna be able to pay back the loans. Some students are graduates and they're unemployed, they're sitting, they're using drugs, they are depressed because there's nothing else to do. Some youth are at home because they can't afford education. So there's a lot with the government, and it still needs to do for the youth of South Africa. Education is just the tip of the iceberg, because even when it comes to viruses, diseases, for example, let's talk about HIV. Now, the majority of the people which are dying from HIV, it's the youth, because they've got nothing else to do or just to sit around and wait for the next best thing to happen. So the government must stop giving the youth alcohol and start giving the youth skills. The government must stop putting the propaganda on entertainment to brainwash the youth. The government needs to start teaching the youth skills. The government needs to start freeing some funds for the youth to get skills, education, whatever. Because at the end of the day, if this youth becomes nothing, so South Africa becomes nothing. At the end of the day, when white children, or let's just be frank, when white children are educated and they're still holding managerial positions in the next 10 years to come, who are we going to blame? Because by then we can't blame apartheid. We need to blame what's happening now. So all I'm saying, as much as tomorrow there will be celebration, there will be people talking about 1976, how the youth of 1976 and so on, they must also look at the youth of after 1994. What has happened to that youth? How many of that youth are now well off? Not the youth which got connections, or we've got surnames which matter, which got surnames which can have credentials. Just your typical youth which was born maybe in 84, which was maybe 10 years in 1994. So what happened to them? Did they get a better life, or are they still struggling? Are they drug addicts, or are they baby boomers? Because there's also still that social grant whereby there's social grant for anything and everything, but there is no social grant for education. Because I wouldn't mind if the youth was getting money, there was money, free money for the youth to study, so that if a child is not educated, it's not the government to be blamed. But then this one, whereby the social grant for especially the one for children, whereby you get, I don't know how it works, but you get paid for having a child. I don't really understand how it works, because we need to learn about family planning. We need to learn about, you can't have a child whereby you do not have a plan. Children are already a problem on their own. Not a problem in such, but then for you to raise a better child than yourself, you need to have more than what you had. So you can't grow up in a situation which you don't like, and eventually you give birth to a child in that same situation. That's not evolving. And then at the end of the day, you're gonna go apply for social grant to raise your child. You are unemployed, the father is missing in action, your mother and father are unemployed, and you don't even have a proper housing, and then you come every year, you give birth to a child because there's social grant, there's 350. How much does it cost to raise a child? How much? Because 350 a month, I don't know how much it is now. I'm just assuming it's 300, maybe it's 400, I'm not sure. It's not enough to raise a child or give a child a decent life. It's just a joke. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many children you pile up on top of each other. The more children you have, the more responsibilities grow. So you'll never make up enough money. As much as you'll be having children, you'll never have enough money to feed them with that 350 or 400 rand social grant. So the government needs to start teaching the youth, because if we have a youth which doesn't look, or which doesn't have a vision of the future, surely we don't have a South Africa. Because whatever is happening now, the youth is the one which needs to lead us when we are old. So for today, part of my piece of Youth Day, I just hope the government will start taking better care of its youth and stop feeding the youth entertainment propagandas, but give the youth some skills, give the youth some education, give the youth information which can empower them, give the youth some future, a better tomorrow. Anyway, as we all know, Youth Day, yippee. And for now, let's look at what's happening on like Cape Town under 5 for alleged racism. There's been a lot happening this week. As we all know, there's been parents clutching at a school, and our famous story. Okay, we're gonna start from our famous story of last week, of the lady which apparently gave birth to 10 children. The story is still a mystery, if I must say so myself, because there's a lot going on around the story. I'm not even sure which one is which, but then in front of me now, I've got news from Eyewitness News, and it was 9 hours ago. It says Louis Pasteur Private Hospital in Pretoria denies claims in delivered decuplets. Okay, that's what they call decuplets. I hope I'm saying it right. So it says at Johannesburg, the CEO of the Steve Biko Academic Hospital said that a woman who claimed to have given birth to 10 babies more than a week ago arrived at the public facility on Saturday, informing them that she was told to wait there for her decuplets to be transferred. Steve Biko's CEO Matabo Matebula told the Clement Manyathela show that the woman claiming to be Josiama Sitole was brought to them by the hospital security guards. Confusion around the decuplets continues to grow as no one has confirmed the births of the babies or has seen them a week after they were born. Gauteng Social Development Department says decuplets' mom is not missing. Pretoria News reported the births of the babies on Tuesday at a private Pretoria hospital, but the Gauteng Health Department has denied any records of the births. Matebula said that Sitole told them that the babies were born at the Louis Pasteur Private Hospital, but the facility has denied any involvement. Matebula said that the woman left the facility without being admitted over the weekend. She said that she delivered on the 7th and was discharged on the 10th. She went home to Tembisa on the same day. She came back to Steve Biko. The first time she was seen by the people at Steve Biko was this Saturday. Michael Sadiki is the spokesperson for the Louis Pasteur Private Hospital. He said that they had no record of a patient by the name of Josiama Sitole or 10 babies being delivered. I've just verified, and we don't have the patient, and we don't have 10 babies. We've never delivered 10 babies at Louis Pasteur Hospital. I don't know where the story comes from, but I can confirm that it's not true. So that's the story of the lady with 10 babies. Still a mystery. We still don't know what's going on. And then the next one was the ANC staff picket of the first time since unbanning in 1990 as the state reforms. So the ANC was also pickpocketing over unpaid salaries. Apparently they were not paid. The ANC staff was not paid in May. So they were pickpocketing. This is the Daily Mavericks. ANC staff picket for the first time since unbanning in 1990 as state reforms bite at party finances. This is Farrell Hafaji again, 29 minutes ago. Sorry, I'm saying again. It seems like I always encounter her news most of the times. So Farrell Hafaji, that was 29 minutes ago, and the newspaper is the Daily Mavericks DM. So it says this is the first time the ANC staff had protested against the government party since its unbanning and the opening of office in SA in 1990. Two sets of state reform have hurt the ANC's coffers. The Political Party Funding Act sets limits on funding and also provides that all donors must declare funding above 100,000 to the Independent Electoral Commission (IEC). It also prohibits state-owned enterprises from funding political parties. The SOEs were generous party funders until now. In addition, the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture has repeatedly returned to the theme of how funds from companies it is investigating won tenders and then round-trip some of their revenue back to the ANC. Okay, continue reading. African National Congress staff picket outside Constitution House in Adderley Street against unfair labor practiced by the ANC leadership on June 15, 2021 in Cape Town. Okay, this is just an image which they show. And then That's okay. They're showing pictures of ANC members at the Constitution House pickpocketing. African National Congress ANC staff picket outside Constitution House in Adderley Street against unfair labor practiced by the ANC leadership on June 15, 2021 in Cape Town. Okay, photo by Gallo Images, Brenton, whatever. This tab has likely been turned off with the Zondo Commission's public scrutiny. The Commission has heard testimony that funds from the Prasa trains purchased from the Gupta family by former Public Enterprise Minister Malusi Gigaba and from the logistics company Bosasa was funneled to the ANC. At Lutuli House in Johannesburg, the staff who are organized by the trade union Nehawu held posters reading, "We demand our salaries with immediate effect." Only 50 staff protested for an hour because of COVID-19 regulations, and they wore either ANC regalia or Nehawu t-shirts. Members have not been getting their salaries on time. There are very few times when members, staff haven't received their salaries, said staff spokesperson Mandla Ngwane. People get anxious because they don't know where their next meal is coming from. They don't know if they will be able to pay for school transport for their children. They don't know if they will be able to pay their medical aid. They don't know if they will pay their debts. That creates anxiety, confusion, and frustration, he told Daily Mavericks. The ANC has 1.4 million members in branches across the country, so the staff complement is relatively small for the organization's size. Previous reports have said that suspended ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule ballooned the size of his office with senior staff, which strained the payroll. President Cyril Ramaphosa has previously stepped into meeting the party's commitment to its staff. Okay, that's another picture. African National Congress staff picket against the unfair labor practice by the ANC leadership at Lutuli House. Okay, that's just a picture. Magashula's spokesperson and MK Military Veterans Association, MKMVA representative Carl Niehaus tried to project himself on social media as a co-organizer of the protest and came dressed in his camouflage uniform. The staff did not give him a platform. Because of the pandemic, the party has not held any gala events through its Progressive Business Forum, which is a key source of funding. The ANC doesn't generate profits, it lives on donors. If donations are not coming through, the ANC will not be able to pay salaries. People who used to help the ANC with donations can't. The new party funding act prohibits them, said Ngwane. The ANC, even before the Zondo Commission, had been struggling with finances over a long period. Staff handed over their memorandum to Deputy Secretary General Jess Dewati. Spokesperson Pule Mabe said the party had a plan in place to pay the Provident Fund and medical aid contributions. There will be no salary reductions, but retrenchments were likely. We are committed to paying staff salaries, and while the payments may not be at the end of every month, there will be a monthly payment, the party said in a statement. The ANC denied weekend reports claiming it was paying ghost workers, but said it still paid long-serving staff members who had retired without benefits. Oh, ANC. So they're still paying staff which are no longer working, but they staff retired without any benefits. So they're paying them. So they're not ghost workers. It's just they thought of providing benefits for them while they're sitting at home. And the people which are actually doing the work can't get paid because there's not enough money. That's the ANC for you. And then let's see what else are we looking at. that today we're not gonna try to find Afrikaans news. Okay, let's just continue with the story because it says that Duarte apologizes to staff. So apparently the ANC apologized to the people which are pickpocketing. I don't know, picketing, not pickpocketing, picketing outside the different ANC buildings because of unpaid salaries. So this one is from Eyewitness News, and this is 5 hours ago by CD Madia or Madia, I'm not sure. It says that Duarte apologizes to staffers as ANC finally pays May salaries. So eventually they got paid. EP. Okay, Johannesburg, African National Congress ANC Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte has apologized to staffers and their loved ones after receiving a memorandum of demands from party workers. She also told demonstrating staffers that the ANC has finally paid their May salaries. ANC members held a lunchtime picket where they complained about the late payments of salaries and the non-payments by the party of their provident and unemployment insurance funds. Okay, there's just pictures and videos of the pickets and what was happening. Demonstrations also took place across other provinces, with workers urging the ANC to meet them halfway in seeking a solution. The ANC has been struggling with cash flow, with its Treasurer General Paul Mashatile revealing that donations have been trickling in because the Party Funding Act came into law. The irony of the governing party struggling to manage the country's fiscus while having countless internal financial problems is not lost on many. The ANC insisted it would get things right. Duarte has described this period as a difficult one for the party, saying ANC suffers like others across the country had the right to raise their grievances publicly. Duarte also told those gathered that while many got paid on Tuesday, there were issues that had affected the organization. So, still the payments, some are getting paid, some are still waiting, but at least some salaries were paid. Okay, let's see. As we all know, the president was addressing the nation today, and I don't know which level are we in now. Let's see, what did he say? So it's back again on levels. It says President Cyril Ramaphosa to address the nation at 8 p.m. Oh, by this one he didn't address the nation yet. Let's see which one. We should find a recent one. ANC Ramaphosa. Okay. Here's the latest one. The move SA to level. Ramaphosa moves SA to level 3 lockdown as COVID-19 third wave. Okay, that's what we see now. Ramaphosa moves South Africa to. The thing is this: I'm only getting the news from radio stations, and radio station interviews are not that clear. Okay, I think I'm only getting the radio stations. Okay, this is 7:02. So I think it's audio, but South Africa now is on level 3 lockdown. So there's a lot of changes which are taking place. I know that now curfew has been moved to a certain time. There's certain restrictions on alcohol as well. So we're back to our favorite time. Let's see if you can't find anything. Okay. It says Ramaphosa 7:02. This is from 7:02, and this is 30 minutes ago. That's how late it is, people. The time now it's 9:30, and I still have to put this online. So it says that Ramaphosa moves South Africa to lockdown level 3 for 4 provinces in third wave. Okay. President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday night moved South Africa to lockdown level 3. Curfew will now start at 10 p.m. until 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. The sale of alcohol for off-site consumption has also been adjusted and is now permitted between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. from Monday till Thursday. No more drinking on weekend. Here is the full speech. Are we really gonna do that? Let's see how long is this full speech. Oh yo yo. Are we really gonna read this whole speech? So here in front of me, there's the whole speech of what the president said, but then I'm not sure if I really want to read the whole speech. It says, fellow South Africans, it is exactly 15 months since we declared a national state of disaster response to the coronavirus pandemic. We have never experienced a health crisis of this severity before. No one so prolonged. It is understandable that many South Africans now feel tired and weary. We mourn the many lives that we have lost, and we are struggling to cope with the huge impact that the pandemic has had on the livelihoods of millions of people. I know that we have grown impatient with the constraints that have been placed on our lives. I fully understand that you are concerned about constraints that restrict your freedom to travel, to gather, to socialize, to worship, and in some instances, even to earn a living. Yet you also know that these restrictions have been effective in containing the spread of the virus. We have gone through and endured 2 devastating waves of infection, but working together we have brought down infections and prevented the loss of many lives. We know that as difficult as the last 15 months have been, we have started to recover and rebuild. Although it has encountered several setbacks, our mass vaccination program is gaining momentum and we are finally on the path to controlling the disease. But although we have reason to hope, we still have a mountain to climb. A 3rd wave of infections is upon us. We have to contain this new wave of infections. Since I last spoke to you just over 2 weeks ago, the average number of daily new infections has doubled. Then we are recording around 3.7 daily infections. Over the last 7 days, we have recorded an average of 7.5 daily infections. Hospital admissions due to COVID-19 over the last 14 days are 59% higher than the preceding 14 days. The average number of people who died from COVID-19 each day has increased by 48% from 535 2 weeks ago to 791 in the past 7 days. With the exception of the Northern Cape, all provinces are experiencing rising infections. 4 provinces, Gauteng, Free State, Northwest, and Northern Cape, are officially in a 3rd wave, while others are approaching that point. The proportion of COVID tests that are positive, the so-called positivity rate, is continuing to rise in Gauteng, Limpopo, Western Cape, Free State, and KwaZulu-Natal. Of these, Gauteng has been the worst hit. It accounts for nearly 2/3 of new cases measured over the last week. The increase in infections in Gauteng is now faster and steeper than it was at the same time in previous waves. Within a matter of days, it is likely that the number of new cases in Gauteng will surpass the peak of the 2nd wave. Private hospitals in the province have reported that they are near capacity. People, this is too long. You know what your president said if you watch the speech. So for today, I am not going to read this whole thing. It's already taking enough time. So I think for today, that's all we're going to do. We are on level 3, the certain regulations which are implemented again. So that's how it goes for today. I am exhausted today, even if I have to say so myself. I'm even losing my track of thoughts. It's just a mess. So, family, for today, hope you all will have a wonderful Tuesday, and thank you again for supporting my channel, for keep coming back and watch my mistakes and watch my bloopers, whatever I do in this channel. But I really appreciate that. Thank you. Until next week, without thinking thanks Tuesdays. I think I've been saying this name wrong the whole time. Thank you for thinking thanks Tuesdays. We shall meet again next week, and bye. No Africans today. Bye.